The notes are nothing. This is the forgotten song. I'm going to read this famous passage from chapter 21 of A Course in Miracles. I'm not going to read the whole chapter. I have done that in the past, and I will be reading another section from this chapter in another segment here. But today we're just going to read these two paragraphs, and it's really the heart of the message, I think. Here we go. Listen. Perhaps you catch a hint of an ancient state, not quite forgotten. Dim perhaps, and yet not altogether unfamiliar, like a song whose name is long forgotten, and the circumstances in which you heard completely unremembered. Not the whole song has stayed with you, but just a little wisp of melody attached not to a person or a place or anything particular. But you remember from just this little part how lovely was the song, how wonderful the setting where you heard it, and how you loved those who were there and listened with you. Next paragraph. The notes are nothing. Yet you have kept them with you, not for themselves, but as a soft reminder of what would make you weep if you remembered how dear it was to you. You could remember, yet you are afraid, believing you would lose the world you learned since then. And yet you know that nothing in the world you learned is half so dear as this. Listen and see if you remember an ancient song you knew so long ago and held more dear than any melody you taught yourself to cherish since. Okay, that's the heart of the message right there, those two paragraphs. It starts with listen. Listen. We'll go back. All right. Perhaps you catch a hint of an ancient state not quite forgotten. Dim perhaps, and yet not altogether unfamiliar, like a song whose name is long forgotten, and the circumstances in which you heard completely unremembered. That's one whole sentence right there. So this ancient song, Jesus uses the word ancient quite a bit in the Course. It seems so long ago, right? The ego has been around, it seems, for so long, from our perspective, right? Because we believe in time and space. In reality, Jesus keeps telling us the ego is nothing, never even happened, right? This whole dream really never happened. The song of heaven, this is really what Jesus is referencing here. He doesn't say it, but the song of heaven is still playing, right? I did another segment where I talked about not one note in heaven's song was missed, right? Not one note in heaven's song was missed. What does that mean? It means that God is still God. Love is still love. It has never changed. It could never change. It could never change. Remember that great line from the Course, nothing you can do can change eternal love. Eternal love is changeless. Eternal love, by its very definition, is eternal. It can never be attacked. It could never be changed. It can never be destroyed. Which means that God, as love and only love, can never be changed. And we, as God's creation, as love and only love, can never be changed, right? And this is the song, and this ancient song, which is really the song of heaven, which is really the song of love, the song of eternity, has been going on forever. So Jesus is just inviting us once again, right? Listen, perhaps you catch a hint of an ancient state not quite forgotten, right? It's been drowned out by the ego, this song, but it's still there, and we know it's still there. On some level, we are still in touch with that, just as Helen was still in touch. This message came to Helen, right, originally. Helen and Bill together, but it was first and foremost for Helen, and it was saying, Helen, You follow your ego so much, but yet this course is coming through you, right? This course was coming through Helen. She was not any different in many ways than any of us. She was you might say, a highly evolved being, and this course was coming through her, yet at the same time, she had a very hard time with her ego. It was continually tripping her up and keeping her wrangling with Bill and fighting with him tooth and nail, fighting with the Course, resisting the message of the Course. Even though she knew it was true, she famously said, I don't believe, I know it's all true, I just don't believe it. So anyway, listen, perhaps you catch a hint of an ancient state not quite forgotten, dim perhaps, and yet not altogether unfamiliar, like a song whose name is long forgotten, and the circumstances in which you heard completely unremembered. So you don't remember anymore the song, right? But you do, you do on some level, on some deeper level of which most of us are not aware as of yet. Not the whole song has stayed with you, but just a little wisp of melody attached not to a person or a place or anything particular. Right, so specifics. So Jesus here is talking about specifics. This song really is, it's a song of love in the abstract. Love not as we think of it in this world, which is generally, we attach love to specifics. Like, I love this person, I don't love that person. I love this thing, this event, this does it for me, this doesn't do it for me. So we have special love in this world. We have love that is specific. Whereas the song that we're talking about here is a song that is in the abstract and is not attached to anything specific, but it is a love that includes all, a love of which we are all returning to. Okay, not the whole song has stayed with you, but just a little wisp of melody, attached not to a person or a place or anything particular. But you remember from just this little part, how lovely was the song, how wonderful the setting where you heard it, and how you loved those who were there and listened with you. And who was there with you when you heard the song? Everyone, right? Everyone was with you when you heard the song. And what is the little part that Jesus is referring to? What is the little wisp of melody? You might say it's the Course, right? That's one way of looking at this. The Course is just a reminder of this ancient song, right? The Course is just coming to remind us of what we've known all along, the song that we've known all along, the song of our heart. It's just helping us to return to that. But what else could it be? Not the whole song will stay with you, but just a little wisp of melody. You might say, if not the Course, it's just our own knowing that this world, that there's something amiss here, right? Shakespeare, something rotten in the state of Denmark. This world cannot be our home. There's got to be something else. Our heart is calling us. Our heart is telling us this can't be it, because there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a way where we can just rest in love and not be fighting all the time and in this state of continual tension and upset and attack and counterattack and anger and judgment. There's got to be something. There's got to be, a reality beyond all of this. The notes are nothing. So the notes of this little wisp of melody. Now, I do think that Jesus really is referring to the chorus, the notes. He says this elsewhere. He says, like in 189, lesson 189, he says, forget this world, forget this course. Remember how the course started? It started with, this is a Course in Miracles, please take notes. Now he says the notes are nothing, which means that the course itself is an illusion. The course, don't take the course too seriously either. It's just a reminder, right? The notes are nothing, yet you have kept them with you, not for themselves, but as a soft reminder of what would make you weep if you remembered how dear it was to you. You could remember. Now this gets into why don't we remember? Fear, right? You could remember, yet you were afraid, believing you would lose the world you learned since then. So why do we not like change in general? Why do we fear change in general? We fear change because we're afraid of the unfamiliar, right? We would prefer what is known than what is not unknown. Now Jesus keeps telling us, just let go and you're going to see that there's nothing to fear. But that's hard for us to do because we wonder, well, if the ego dissolves, if the ego is really nothing, then what will become of me? Because I think in egoic terms. I think that I am a body. I think that I'm a personality. I think this is all real. I think this world is definitely real. And certainly I act as if it is. And what if it were not to be so? And what if I were not also to be unreal? My ego personality, that's scary, right? It's very scary to think that I would be no more. What would become of me? I think that's the crucial question. What would become of me, little me? And Jesus basically saying, well, you would still be there, right? Your true self. You would know your true self as the loving being that you truly are, beyond this world of all the things that I just said. Beyond this world of perception, beyond this world of duality, beyond this world of hate and judgment and attack and guilt and shame and all the other things. You would know. You would rest in your true self. But you are afraid. And I use that metaphor of, Jesus says, jump off the cliff, right? It's like when we say, would you, if the leader told you to jump off a cliff, would you jump off the cliff? Well, in this case, Jesus is kind of saying that, jump off the cliff, but you're going to fly. You're not going to die. You're not going to fall and die. You're going to fly. But that's hard to, that's a leap of faith. How can we do that, right? Without seriously questioning the leader, right? How can we trust you? How can we trust what you're saying? The notes are nothing, yet you have kept them with you, not for themselves, but as a soft reminder of what would make you weep if you remembered how dear it was to you. You could remember, yet you are afraid, believing you would lose the world you learned since then. Right? You could remember the song, but what drowned out the song was the world, what you made to drown out the song because you were afraid, right? You were afraid because then you made God into an unloving father. This is what Jesus says in the text. You made God into an unloving father in alliance with the tiny mad idea, an alliance with the ego, You made God an unloving father who was going to get you, who was going to punish you. So you were afraid to return. So you made a world to hide from God. You made a world to drown out the song of love. And you were successful to a certain extent in that project, but it finally broke down for you, and you found the course or something like it. And now you're making your way back. And now you realize that it's really the song that you want. It's not there's nothing else here really is going to be satisfying, right? Because our soul, our spirit is eternal. And we will not be satisfied with what is not eternal. And yet you know that nothing in the world you learned is half so dear as this. Listen and see if you remember an ancient song you knew so long ago and held more dear than any melody you taught yourself to cherish since. So again, nothing in this world, no songs, no music, nothing in this world, no sense pleasures are really going to satisfy us. They might for a time, right? But it will break down. It will fail. It's destined to fail, right? Because again, we are spirit. We are not the ego. We will never be satisfied with the ego. We will never be satisfied with a world made by the ego. No matter how much we try to make this world, right, to think that something is going to satisfy us, it won't. So it's a beautiful metaphor that Jesus uses, right? The forgotten song, the song of heaven. The notes of the course, right? This is the Course in Miracles. Please take notes. The notes of the course are really just, this course is not the song. This course is like a little wisp of melody. This is not it. The course is merely pointing to it. The course is saying, yes, there is a song. You remember, and don't you remember? I'm here to remind you. But the course itself is not the song. The course is just pointing to the song. And the course is a beautiful song too, right? Because really the course is coming. The course is a manifestation of the Holy Spirit. So in a way it's giving us a glimpse of what heaven is like, right? This course is so lovely, so beautiful. It's giving us a glimpse of that. By just its way of being, it shows us. But again, it's still words. It's still coming to us in duality. It's an illusion, but it's an illusion that will help us to break free of all other illusions if we let it, right? If we take it to heart, if we practice it, it will help us to free ourselves from all other illusions. So I hope this is helpful. Please let me know. I did some versions of the song. I did one that's on Spotify, The Forgotten Song. Some people have told me that's their favorite song on the CD I did. I think it's pretty good, but it's, there's so many different ways you could do this, put this to music. And anyway, hope this is helpful to you today, and I'll see you very soon. Keep doing these segments and carry on.